Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here for another show discussion review, and we are here to talk about Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy that just released on Netflix. And it's kind of ironic because we just got done talking about a TMNT related thing, and now we're talking about Transformers, which, just like TMNT, Transformers has been a huge franchise that I've loved and still love to this day. So this was exciting. I kept my eye on it. I saw a couple of the trailers, and I know some people were like, it's CGI. Man, that sucks. And I can kind of agree that initial response. CGI isn't my favorite thing in animation. I think I've been pretty vocal about that on other things that we talked about on the channel. But I wanted to check it out, and I got done watching all of it, and I got some mixed opinions on it, but I think overall it's still an alright show. So I guess just getting it out of the way since we mentioned it, the animation is CGI, and I actually like it more than I thought I would. I didn't think it looked bad. I just was slightly disappointed that if they went the CGI route, they didn't go like the, almost the game level quality CGI that they use for some cinematics. But I can understand because that's very expensive CGI. So the one that they decided to go with, I think it looks great. You can definitely tell with that type of style they can really do a lot of sheen and good lighting. And I think with Transformers, since they are kind of blocky beings and there's more vehicles and mechanical stuff aspect to it, CGI doesn't really look terrible with stuff like that as it does with people or flesh. So to me, looks fine. I think the clarity when you're watching it on like a 4K TV looks very nice. I will say the only downside to still using CGI is that it is a bit stiff or clunky looking at times when they're moving or when they do have like a fisticuffs. Like I remember in the first or second episode, there's a couple of hand-to-hand fights between some of the Transformers, or the Cybertronians, I should say, and it just looks off, or it doesn't look as smooth as it could be. But as far as it looking good as well, I also appreciate the art style they go for. You can kind of tell that they have a mixture of between like the G1 and like High Moon's War for Cybertron game. There's a couple of the weapons especially that they use that are very reminiscent of the ones that they use in the game. So I like that connective tissue to the lore. I still think that it kind of drops the ball in story, which we'll get to that in a minute. I just wanted to highlight too real quick the performances and the acting. I think it's no surprise. I think if people saw the trailer, maybe if you didn't, I'll just give you your disclaimer here, that some of the voice talent for Transformers is not in this. I know that there's been a few of the original voices that have passed away. There's also, some that maybe just didn't decide to return for whatever reason. And I think that's one that it definitely does take a hit. I don't think that's something that you can really critique the show for because, some of those are unavoidable, especially for the ones that are gone. But I think the people that they got, they did a decent job. I don't think, the voices will ever be, they'll be able to capture the voices of the originals or the ones that you like the most. So for that, that may zap a little bit of your enjoyment of it. But to me, the people that they got, I thought were still decent, and I ended up, finding it an acceptable job. I don't want to necessarily steer you away from using those type of words because I'm not trying to undermine like their performance or how well they did. It's just that to me, obviously, I think it's good. It doesn't ruin my viewing of it, but it is one of those things where it's like it's unfortunate, but take it as it is. Now to talk about the story, and we're going to go over this really quickly because I don't want to make this a long video because it's not really necessary for a show that is 6 episodes, which is kind of like my first complaint is it is very slow, or not slow, it's very short, and given that it's kind of the start of the trilogy that they're going to do, I don't want to, I would really like to research it a little bit more to see if this is the cause, but it really seems like a lot of the missteps for the story is due to the length of it. At the very start, in the very first episode, it does kind of just drop you into an action sequence, which is fine. I don't mind that, if they want to start it off with a battle or whatever. But there's really no backpedaling to go back and tell you certain things, or there's no official introductions of certain characters. Which is fine because they're iconic characters, right? And I'm sure that most people that are watching the show are fans of Transformers in general. But it is kind of disappointing in the sense that, the whole title of the show is War for Cybertron, and we are starting seemingly in the middle or towards the end of the war, it feels like. Like Optimus already has the Matrix of Leadership. The Autobots are already beaten down and battered. Cybertron is really seemingly almost all destroyed. Not all destroyed, I should say, but it's taken already a bit of damage, right? So a lot of those elements are just kind of disappointing for the start of the show. I felt like, to me, I was really excited for this show, thinking that, we'll get something like the games did, but since it's a show and since, it's going to be a trilogy, they'll be able to expound upon a lot of the stuff that, the games kind of tackled. Not saying that they had to do it exactly the same way or they couldn't remix a few things, but, it's like, I guess it just compared to the game, it is kind of a disappointment. And I don't want to compare it to the game because I don't think that's fair either, but I just feel like, for a subject of Transformers that, hasn't been done very much, focusing on the war, and kind of seeing how it started, what led up to, the factions and all of this. I mean, there is little glimpses of that in this show here and there. I think some of the best parts of the show are, when they're, going around parts of Cybertron and, they mention certain things about how it used to be. There's only like one or two very small moments that they do something like that, but I appreciate those. I think it just kind of, magnifies the intensity and the level of their war and how much they've kind of descended as a race because of this war. Another cool thing that I really like about this show, that I don't think was showcased really at all in the game, so I actually like this change, or even in other parts of Transformers, whether it's in the movies or shows or whatever, is that seeing that Megatron's not completely evil right out the gate. I kind of like that in this show they take a moment to, or a couple of instances here and there to show that yes, he's maybe got the wrong ideals or visions for what Cybertron should be, but you can tell they're coming from a right place. But then you slowly see, or maybe not slowly, but you see glimpses of it. Just the what would you call it? The grudge and just the dislike, the growing dislike for the Autobots and Optimus that lead him to just kind of forgetting about everything that started him to lead this rebellion or resistance, and or I guess it would be like a revolution, and making it to where he's kind of lost in his own hatred, a burning hatred for this enemy that he's created because of everything. So I like that because the show is short and because they don't really start at the very beginning of the war. Some of those, it's kind of like almost a missed opportunity because I would have really loved to see that played on a little bit more. But I get it. Like Megatron's supposed to be like the not the stereotypical, but like just the unshakable bad guy. So I kind of understand why they didn't want to go too far into that. But again, it's just a slight disappointment that they didn't decide to start it in a more chronological, traditional way. And I don't know if I for this, it really makes me worried a little bit for the second and third season they're going to do. I would imagine. I guess we don't know yet, but the first season was 6 episodes, like I mentioned, and if we get the same amount of episodes, I think that's really gonna hurt it, as well as they're seemingly they've already launched the arc at the end of the first season, and so I really, especially since it's called War for Cybertron, I really hope they're remixing this in a really big way, because I would really hate to see them already leave Cybertron and, go to Earth or whatever, or just stay in space. I mean, I don't know, maybe staying in space wouldn't be a bad idea, but compared to going to Earth. But, I feel like there was just a lot of places where I was just disappointed. I didn't hate the show, because I still like Transformers and I still like seeing the war and being on Cybertron, but just what they did with it and how much they decided to, or I guess what things they decided to focus on in those 6 episodes was just really unfortunate. I look at some of the other Netflix shows like Castlevania that had very few episodes in its first season, and just how they decided to, make their first season, even though it was short, stick to their guns and make it kind of a setup season. And I really wished that for Transformers, and unfortunately it just wasn't that. I guess I haven't really seen what other fans have really said about the show. Maybe a lot of people have been liking the show, and that's good, and I'm glad for you if you enjoyed the show. To me, I was just really sad that they didn't even try to expand upon anything new, or just go in deeper than some other things, because to me this almost seems like a inferior adaptation than some of the other ones that we've gotten. But like I said, that's just kind of my opinion, where I'm coming from. I think there's some arguments to be made on both sides, but I think it really will depend on the seasons going forward. Maybe the second season will even be a complete flashback. Who knows? I don't like that idea, but hey, I guess it could happen, right? But that was just my thoughts on it. Overall, I still liked it. I would give it a I like it. It's one that I did enjoy, and it wasn't like a big time investor, because it's only about less than 3 hours, I think, to watch the whole first season. So I would suggest go checking it out, see if you enjoy it. It's still Transformers at its core. I think a lot of people that are old fans can really appreciate some of the things that they incorporate, in the designs, and even the voice actors they got kind of reminisce, like the OG cast, even if they're not the OG cast. So I think there will be a good amount of people that will enjoy this. Just to me, and as somebody that really loved the games and how they expand upon that, I can't help but bring that prior knowledge in there. So it is a bit of a disappointment. But that's basically all I wanted to say about this show. Let me know if you liked it or not. And if you guys haven't played War for Cybertron or Fall for Cybertron, I highly recommend those games. Some of the, hands down, best Transformers games that I've got to play, and it's still in probably my top 10 games. But anyway, guys, that'll conclude this. If you want, we got the new gaming channel. You can go check that out. There will be some links up here of other stuff that we're doing. We got some more comic, more TV show stuff. Movies are coming. So, yeah, just stay tuned, and we'll have more for you guys. Anyway, peace, Addicts. Have a good day.